The red, white, blue flying way up high, and we stand and salute to the ones that fight, and we don't give a damn if you don't like this American pride.
Welcome back to the sunny side of freedom. And once again, we have War Eagle with us. Hello, my friend. We are back from the sunny side of freedom Midwest meetup. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Wasn't that an awesome weekend?
It sure was nice to see your face, I must say. It's only been a few days and it feels like longer, huh?
Oh, it does. It feels like, I'll be honest, I miss y'all so much.
I know. There's something to be said about bonds, right?
We made we made a lifetime bond that week. This past weekend, it was good. It was good to sit and talk to everybody, and it was good to sit and talk to the veterans, and share stories. It brought back a lot of memories for me.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure I did. And I know that you and I actually had done a mini intro interview. The uh, the other day when we were together at the campground, and you had expressed that you would be very interested in doing an interview. So here we are again, my friend, and I'm very excited to hear your story, and have you share your story, whatever story that is that you feel comfortable in.
It's tough this time of year. I mean, you know what's coming up. Memorial Day is Sunday. A lot of us guys, a lot of the combat guys, we, we remember our guys that are no longer here. And there's a few of them that I know that aren't here that I served with.
Hmm.
Uh, kind of bittersweet, I guess you'd say. Cuts deep, but I mean, about me, I started my service in 1986. I joined the Army National Guard, stayed in there for I guess, about 7 months or something like that. Did an inter service transfer, went to the Navy, went to boot camp for the Navy, A school, air crew school, and then went to do a training squadron and SEER school. After that, finally got to my squadron at November, December of '87. Did my first tour in the Middle East over during Desert Storm with the Navy, and after I got it back to Desert Storm, I ETS'd out, which is end of service, and came back to Mississippi and joined the National Guard back up. Uh, Stayed in there till about '99. I got out for a couple of years, and then 9/11 happened. And with the training that I had received and everything, I decided to join back up. I'm glad I did. I did two more tours in the Middle East, '04 and '05, and then '09 and '10. '04 and '05 was okay. We think we lost 8 people. 9 and 10, we didn't lose nobody until we got home. I lost my platoon sergeant and one of my squad leaders after we got home, and I lost a couple more, but they was the accidents. Don't make it any less, but you know,
And for our viewers, or War Eagle, when you say you lost your sergeant, for instance, are you referring to them being part of the 22?
yes,
Okay.
I had two of them that was part of the 22.
Okay. And for our viewers, if you're not familiar with 22, this is part of Sunny's mission. More often than not, I find myself out here in the civilian world having to actually explain what that number means. Sadly, as a society, we have done a very poor job of literally making it known to the public that we have a crisis on our hands.
Mhm.
And that is part of the mission. And 22 means 22 too many, 22 a day. And even sadder, 22 is just a baseline. That number is much, much higher.
Yeah, it is. That was the average 10 years ago. Uh, Probably longer than that. The average now it varies year to year, but
Hmm.
usually runs anywhere from 28 to 30 a day. The 22 a day, um, a lot of people don't understand it, but there's a lot we deal with on a daily basis. The only thing the VA really wants to do is medicate you and basically keep you drugged up to where you don't think about it. And you heard me state up there that when we was at the weekend that the medication I take to sleep is for me to sleep but not remember the nightmare. I still have them, but I don't remember them the next day. And
Okay.
that's where a lot of our 22 a day comes from is they're remembering what happened in their sleep, and then it carries on into the next day and the days after. Holidays are tough. Uh, I mean, just about any holiday is tough, especially this one coming up.
Yeah. Well, I think for those watching, even civilians who haven't served, who have experienced loss, right? Anytime there's a holiday, you remember
Yeah,
those you've lost. So, on that level, I can empathize and say, I get that because it's once again another event or a holiday where that individual is not present.
yeah. And the holidays when we've lost family, you know, we think about our family, and that's the same way with our veterans that we have lost brothers and sisters. That's part of our family.
Hmm.
I mean, as a civilian, your family is your family is family. It's And I don't mean this to offend anybody or upset anybody, but family is usually blood or married into the family. Our family is, we always like to say it, our family is, we all wore green.
Bonded by service.
Yeah, our family not only is our blood family, is but our service family too. Um, it's so we we mourn the loss of our family members. We also mourn the loss of our brothers and sisters.
And that is a very difficult thing for civilians to understand. Um, I had the privilege of spending this weekend with all of you in Missouri at the Midwest meetup. And I immediately was able to see because I had a front row seat. It was like you guys were you never served together, but you all served. So it's like this unspoken language. It's there, it's an immediate connection.
It's
And that's what I saw.
it's automatic. It don't matter. It don't matter if you're the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It don't matter. We all serve. I mean, we're bound by our service.
Yeah.
And you run into a veteran, as you've seen Thursday when I arrived. It was just like I knew Timber and Chief, Rich. It's just like I've known them my whole life.
Hmm. Yeah.
And But yeah, I watched some of my brothers pass away over there. Uh, the two that I lost over here, I got a phone call from their family, and oh no, that's a different kind of hurt.
Yeah. One of the things that I've learned in my time that I've spent with all of you, especially on Fridays, our Veterans Night, where we have spent so many hours and a little bit over a year now, going on a year and a half or so, is that most of you do not speak about it. You not talk about it and you just hang on to all of it, even on the live. No one wants to talk about it.
No, we don't. I mean, it's hard for me to do it now, but man, but it's something we deal with.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. There's aspects of being over there that I'll never talk about to anybody.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. There's things you don't want to remember, but you do.
Hmm. I will never make a comparison to the experiences that our military have, what you've gone through, the things you've seen, all of it. Um, how it resonates with me when I try really hard to understand. When I lost my brother very traumatically, I think I spent about 2 weeks, I couldn't close my eyes because all I had were like really just images that I didn't want to see. It was a very, the way I last saw him. I'll say it that way. And it was very traumatic for me that I was afraid to go to sleep. I didn't want to see it. So sometimes when I hear you guys talk, I'm like, I wonder if it was like that. I wonder if it's like that because I know what that did to me. Um, I just couldn't sleep. And that's the God honest truth. It was awful. And eventually on its own, it started to fade where I could close my eyes and not see it anymore. But it was there all the time, even when I was awake.
It's there all the time when we're awake.
Yeah.
And like I say, I was telling you about
Hmm.
what I take for sleep before I got put on this medication, 2 to 3 hours a night. Max. And and it's because you're afraid to go to sleep.
Yeah. And
Well,
again,
I don't know if it's you're afraid to go to sleep, but I think it's more you don't want to the vision.
that I understand. And again, I'm not trying to make a comparison. There was no comparison. It wasn't in a war zone, um, or anything like that. Or even here back home, images are images. Trauma is trauma. It's a sense. It's a level of trauma that you've experienced. It's a lot for the brain, emotions to make sense of all of it. And I know myself. I couldn't talk to anyone. Everyone stayed away from me. I lost all connections of friends that I used to have. I don't think anyone knew how to help me. I think that was another factor. And I really did self isolate. I did. Um, and I don't know that I know exactly how I stopped seeing the images, other than I think at that time, my son helped me. I focused so much, my focus was redirected towards my son and trying to get through it. But sometimes I wonder I don't know. I don't know the secret. I don't have the magic potion. So yes, we turn to medications, we turn to pharmaceuticals, or we turn to medicinal properties of, maybe consuming um, marijuana or alcohol, or we turn to other things.
And there's so many of them out there that turn to alcohol.
And alcohol is a killer.
And I
Yeah.
I know a lot of, but my ex-wife, she left me because she could not deal with what I was. Uh, you heard me and Chief talking up there that when I
Hmm.
retired,
I did. Yes.
but until then, you know, I gotta I gotta keep the medications because, and I won't tell you that it has fixed everything. Does it make me numb to it? Yeah. You seen me Thursday night when I got up there after I took my medication. I was later on that night. I was sitting there just I was just sitting there zoned out. That's when I told y'all I needed to go to bed.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I mean, there's all of us. I think all of us deal with it in different ways, but all of us have got a connection to.
There's a connection there because and I don't want to say we, but all of you connect because you understand that pain associated with, you know, when Memorial Day is coming up and what that means, what it symbolizes. And so much of what I do out here is try to bring awareness to the average person who we're just poorly educated. We don't talk enough about it. It's more about, there's a parade coming up, there's a 3 day. And it wasn't until I actually started the TikTok platform where I became more and more familiar with our veteran community. And I wanted to know more. I wanted to help more, where I learned more about everything, which opened up my mind, my heart, and it became more of like my purpose on this application. Like I have to do something. I have to, even if it's a small percentage. And that's how we met. That's why I started doing
Yeah.
what I was doing and have
And
been doing.
a lot of the people, they don't ask the questions, but the questions a lot of people ask are the, and I think that that's the reason a lot of people are uneducated about it, is because they ask the wrong questions of us, and we're just not willing to answer those questions. Uh, Now you get a bunch of combat veterans in a room together and shut the door and leave it. We'll tell stories that a civilian will never hear.
Hmm.
I mean, and some of it is our peace when we do that, but some of it is more of a way of paying respects to the ones that's no longer here. We can tell their stories,
Yeah.
what they did. I mean, the platoon sergeant that I lost, the squad leader that I lost, these guys were two great mentors for soldiers. I mean, great. And me and the what really hurt me about the platoon sergeants, me and him went to school together. So we grew up in the same town, went to the same school. We knew each other, and he knows he could have called. He could have called at any time. And that's the reason you always hear us reinforce it. You know, I got your six. you need me, I'm here.
Mhm.
I don't care what time of day it is, what time of night it is. If I miss your call, I'll call you back as soon as I see it.
Yeah.
My phone is usually on with me 24 hours a day. And that's where we are failing each other. We don't reach out.
Reaching out when you're in a very dark place is such a hard thing for any one person.
Yeah. And,
When you're
and there's one that we talked to the other night that she knows.
Yeah,
I gave her, I sent her my number and I told her, don't ever do it again.
yeah. I also reached out to that individual and did my wellness check. And that's really what it's about. It's that constant reinforcement. Hello, I'm here. I'm checking on you. And I do that once a week with specific individuals. Hey, how we doing today? It's so hard to get to everyone. And that's why it's so important to continue to build a family like we're doing with the sunny side, because I can't do it alone. And
And,
it's so much more powerful when we all are in together, because then we can all get each other. We're all checking on each other, and it just becomes more powerful for sure. Um, but yeah, getting into a really dark place is where the work begins, but it's getting out of that dark place, which is the hard part. And no one has the magic answer to it. No one can tell you exactly how to do it, other than you kind of have to face what you're going through, and determination plays a role in that, which is I'm going to face this shit, but then I'm coming out of this shit. And it's so hard. It's
yeah,
so hard.
I was talking to one of the veterans. I told you that I was bringing in the supposed to come in Friday tomorrow night.
Hmm.
Um, they he was me and him was talking, and he's one that I keep check on.
Yeah.
I message him every day because he's lost every one of his guys.
People need people.
Yeah,
I had this conversation today during my work day. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to a social worker, and she asked me how my trip was with all of you, and I told her how amazing it was, and she didn't realize the depth of what it is that I was doing. And she immediately turned to me and said, my brother served in Afghanistan. And I said, he did. I said, here's my information. Please have him join us anytime. And she responded and said, I don't think he will. He's completely isolated. And right away, I said, "Oh gosh, that's not good. That's not good. He doesn't talk to anyone." Um, so I will keep an eye on that and continue to provide her with the tools as a family member, and make her aware of the potential dangers of him living a life of isolation.
and that's the way my nephew is. If you know, like I said, he just got married, but
Hmm.
he isolates himself at the house. I mean, it's he don't get out,
Yeah,
and for him to get out to get married, and the thing about it, it was small, but you could see it in his face. He was not comfortable.
yeah. And it's like steps that we take, right? So if you can't physically get out to get the help, and by no means am I a counselor or a therapist. Honestly, so much of um, the power behind my platform isn't even me. It's all of you. Because when you show up and they come in, they don't even need to leave their home to feel like they're joining you. They're a part of something, right? And it's that feeling of being a part of something. I think by now you already have it, which is that feeling like, oh, I got to get on Sills Live. It's Veterans Night. Of course, that's when you're not working. So many of my veterans, if I'm like 2 minutes late, I get a text message. Hey, are you going live tonight? I'm like, yes, I'm running 2 minutes late. So
I mean,
that's,
I try to get in every Friday night that I can. I mean, sometimes I have stuff going on here. I have to miss a Friday night. I mean, but I still go and share it out to other people,
Hmm.
even though I might not be in there, but I still share it out to people. Hey,
Yeah,
y'all need to come check this out.
and I appreciate that because it really, so many say it's sunny, sunny. Thank you. It's not even about me. I'm just creating. I'm the like the vessel. I'm just created this place where you can all come together. And I wanted to quickly go back to something else you said over the our last trip together here, the Midwest meetup. I realized that Sunny was busy because as the organizer, I was busy doing things, ensuring that, we're eating on time, everyone's doing good. So I was busy. I was busy. And you were also good at lending a hand. But um, I also heard feedback, which was we wished you had stopped a little bit more to spend that extra time with us. Believe it or not, I wanted you all to spend that time together without me. Like I said before, I enjoyed seeing it from the outside because that's what you needed. You needed that time together to talk about whatever it is you're talking about. And yes, I was popping in, I was sitting down, then I'd get back up. But it really was about all of you also coming together, sharing. And you can't necessarily do that everywhere we go. You may run into a veteran, but let's say you're at a function, there's civilians around. So you're never going to have that level of comfort of having a conversation. Whereas we were literally, I felt isolated, right? We were in our own little spot, safe space, and you were with veterans with no civilians interrupting other than myself, other than me, periodically. You guys need anything or whatever? But um, yeah. So I don't know if that was helpful at all and what kind of feedback you have for that.
It was, I mean, you've seen us when we got to talking. We just all just lit up. I mean,
Yeah.
and it helps us to get around people that, you know,
Hmm.
they know your background, they know what you're talking about. It really does help. But
I'm sure.
I'm ready for the next one.
I'm ready for the next one too. And I appreciate you wanting to share part of your story and it does offer perspective, which is one of the main reasons why Sunny started in the first place, which was always offer civilians some perspective, open their minds up to conversation and a level of start getting comfortable with your veteran community. But what's happened is there's this huge division there. It's like we're in separate boxes and no one knows how to come together, um, just come together to help one another. And we're failing miserably. And when you take that now and you say, okay, you have a veteran who's married to a civilian, they can't help each other.
I, um, and what you're doing is great. You're doing it great. We need to, you know, grow our veterans in the on your lives, but we also need to grow our civilians that are on your life. And I think if we start doing that, we can get the message out, and they can hear our stories. They can hear some of what makes us tick.
Yep.
I think we do another get together. I think it would be good to have more civilians there with us so they can watch the interaction like you got to,
Mhm.
and they can
And that
see the camaraderie that we have with each other.
And that's something Sunny, is looking to do. That was my first. So going forward, of course, we have an amazing family on the Sunny side family. We have military family members who would love to join us, who would like to volunteer and come in. So that's something that Sunny's going to be open to as well. Those volunteers who want to come in, but they're going to be like a Sunny, a part of something. Um, and it is bringing awareness, for every live that we have or video that we're putting out, the message is clear, it's there. Veteran lives matter. We need to do better. We need to come together. as Americans. We need to do better as a society on educating. I often talk about how I starting now, start teaching your children. I started last year when Memorial Day was around the corner with quizzing mine. Like, do you understand the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? And they had no clue. And it's about that. Not only did I teach my son, I taught my daughter, my son's friend was here. Now go out there and share that with your friends, and that's what it's about. So this is so much bigger, and it requires so much effort on everyone's part. And that's why Sunny will always bring it to the forefront. Say, okay, guys, you know what's coming up. For those listening, if you don't know, you should know. Just like we're doing with 22, for instance, we're bringing awareness to 22. What is 22 or RED? I was asked that. What is red? What is red? Why? Why do you wear red on Fridays? There's so much that in society no one's aware of. I was not aware of it until I joined the veteran community through TikTok, finding you guys, creating the platform where you all came in and educated me. But had it not been for this, I'd probably still be like everybody else out there, clueless. That's the sad reality. It's being just not aware. If no one's talking about it, no one's teaching you, you're unaware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do, my friend. But you know what? I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone on the Sunnyside family. I think that what I'm seeing is the growth in our voices. I'm seeing more and more videos. I'm seeing more and more people with less reservation and more motivation in wanting to share the message, wanting to share 22, wanting to talk about 22, talk about mental health, talk about these issues, be open to conversations about medications versus alternative medicinal properties, and I'll leave that there. But so much to talk about when we talk about mental health. Mental health can affect any single one of us at any given time. Like I often say, we all have a story, it's just a different story. But we can come together and try. We can all, pain can resonate with any one of us. The pain's just different for different reasons, different situations, but we know pain, we know sadness, we know depression, we know anxiety. Um, Coping is different for every single person. The way I handle things may not be the way you handle things. So, not one person, even a therapist, can tell you, this is what you're going to do and you're going to be fine. Not one person can do that for you. It's self discovery. That's when Sunny often says you have to invest in you. Figure out what it is for you to fill your own cup because no one else can do it for you. They can add to it. It's a compliment. Like if you're having a shitty day, um, and then you see me and I throw in a joke, or you see Casey or any one of our family members, they may make you laugh and your cup will start to fill up a little bit, right? But
Yeah.
at at the end of the day, truly filling your cup is an inside job. It's an inside job to filling up your cup, and that's the hard part because no one can tell you how to do it other than you really taking time to sit with yourself and say, okay, these are my concerns, these are my problem areas. How do I um, address these areas in my life? Is it therapy? Is it medication? Is it going to the gym? Is it joining something? So I don't know, what would you feel comfortable in sharing that has worked for you or is working for you?
Me staying busy. I found that if I'm not busy doing something, my mind kind of tends to drift to, okay, why did this happen? What happened? I mean, it starts going down that road. But the busier I am here, especially with me, I mean, I'm here by myself. My roommate, I mean, well, I don't want to ever see him, but gonna, I have to stay busy doing something, or those thoughts they just start coming in.
Yeah, we often talk about that, staying busy, occupying our time. You know, one of the reasons why you see Sunny planking every morning, we call it my mindful moment. It's that mindful moment, first thing in the morning. What am I doing today? That's what that is. I often say that plank is so much more than just a plank. It's an opportunity. It's demonstrating I need to take time for myself. What am I doing today? Is it a check off list? Check off lists work great, by the way. I have them. It keeps me focused on the things that it keeps me focused and I have my priorities and then I have the things I hope to get to. But it keeps me going throughout the day. I don't know if you work with a check off list.
No, I just go and do whatever.
Okay. And like I said, what works for some may not work for everyone. I personally take the moment in the morning. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do today? Do I need to work through any emotions? Was my daughter crabby in the morning? Was my son being, not the most pleasant? Teenage years, they don't always treat you the best. They're brutal, actually. But, you know, it's so different for everyone. Some go for a walk, some go to the gym. But we do encourage some level of activity, whatever that is. I know you were out chopping wood yesterday, so that's
No,
therapy, believe it or not.
that was the pecan tree that I had cut down. That I was moving it out of the backyard and putting it over here to the side, out of the way. I mean, that was what kept me occupied. And today I had all my stuff to deal with my boat, as far as registration and tags for the trailer and stuff like that. So I've been running all day doing that. So I mean,
So that's kept you busy. And I just wanted to say I'm so happy that you do come apart and you come and you're a part of the Sunny Side of Freedom family every the Friday Veterans Lives and all the others as well. Sunny is live those two the Friday and the Sunday. But what I've realized is you guys are always there. We don't need just a Veterans Live. You guys are there. I think for some what I'm trying to encourage is civilians to be more proactive, start engaging more, but they don't understand how to necessarily do that. I know that it was hard for me initially. I just couldn't gain the trust, I guess, in the beginning. What kind of advice would you give a civilian?
if it's hard for you to, as a civilian, to come in and listen, or either and to ask questions, just imagine how hard it is for us to sit up there and talk about it. I mean, we want to bridge this gap. We want to get rid of the stigma of civilian and military, and we want to bring this together so that they understand. There's things that a civilian can do in Walmart that can trigger us. I mean, it might not be something big to them, but to us it is. And the only way that a civilian's going to understand that is that they come in and talk, ask the questions. What can we do? How can we help?
And I'm glad you said that. Those types of questions. I think sometimes civilians, immediately want to ask it very invasive questions. One of the things, and you can attest to this, I've never asked any questions. I'll ask questions like, let's have a boot camp story night, or what's the craziest thing you've eaten, or guys, do you have bug out bags, or can you help me understand what these words are? What does this acronym mean? Things like that. But I've never taken it to a place where, because it's truly none of my business. And I can understand that because I would never want someone to come up to me who I don't know and ask me a very personal question. I would like, "Who are you?" I'm not telling you anything. So I think that we need to do a better job of that. listen more, just be
Yeah.
present. Just be present, you know? Trust is built on many things, but it is the foundation. And I think that for the most part, when civilians are trying to understand how on earth I'm able to do this as a civilian, and it's be present, be consistent, and just be there.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to be there, follow through with what you say. If you're committed to it, it's commitment. But that, again, this was my mission. It's like I will be patient, and that's what I've done. Slowly started to gain the trust of every single one of you, one by one. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here tonight and say, "Hey, I'd like to do an interview." You wouldn't do
I
that.
mean, you asked the right questions. A lot of people out there that ask the wrong questions, and what I mean by that, the questions that bring back memories we don't that we try to suppress.
Right. Well, and you're certainly not going to do it on a TikTok live. That's for sure. That's a like, hello. That's an easy one. Um, but for those watching, and please, I encourage you to leave comments respectfully below. What would you like to know more about when it comes to engaging our veterans, or how to help them? How to play a role in the veteran community. What more can you do? There are so many things. And
Mhm.
feel free, join the Veterans Live every Friday. We talk about many different topics. You're going to slowly get to know each and every single one of our veterans, also known as the Sunnyside family, because we are a family. I'm very honored. I really, truly am, not only to have had all the time I've had with every single one of you, Friday after Friday, Sunday after Sunday, but now also have had the opportunity to meet you personally, and to be given that opportunity as a civilian. It's still a lot for me, I'll be honest with you. I still am processing the time we all had together. Like, how did I do this? How did this happen? And how did they choose me or allow me to come in?
because
Um,
because you accomplished what you did for the past weekend by determination. And how did we choose you? It's because you accepted us for the way we was, or the way we are.
mhm. Yeah. You've all been very good to me. I think Sunny runs, I think I run my lives in a way that all rules apply to all, which is respectful. The minute there's disrespect, I won't tolerate it. I don't care. There's no disrespect towards anyone. Um, and I give everyone, or I try very hard to give everyone an opportunity to speak so we don't speak over each other, because everyone's voice and story matters. Um, and I see wonderful things happening for us. I'm super excited about our next trip. I'm already thinking about it. I had talked to our friend Chief, and I said, "All right, we need to get it on the calendar. I need to get motivated again and pumped up, so we have something else to look forward to." And that's something else. I want to see grow, because it's so important for every single one of us. I know the feelings I had this morning were, gee, a week ago today, I was flying, and here we are a week later, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, it happened so fast. We need to get another trip on
Yeah.
the books and make things happen." So what kind of concluding thoughts do you have, if you'd like to share anything else, any messages for our veteran community or civilians?
My message is like it is just about every Friday night I'm in there. Y'all reach out to each other, take care of each other, and just remember the term "I got your six" does not stop once you get out of the service. We got to have each other's back. We got to end this 22 a day. It causes too much pain within the community and within the civilian world.
Most definitely. And I will reinforce that by saying what I always say, which is you're truly never alone, civilian or veteran. You're never alone. There's always someone you can reach out to. And I can reassure you that once you do, that's the hardest step. After that, you start talking through it. It occupies that time and the thoughts that are going through your head at the moment. Um, it's a very courageous thing to do when you do it, but I will implore you, keep reaching out. 988 if you don't want to speak to a family member. Call one of your brothers or sisters. They will understand. You don't have to explain it like you would perhaps to a civilian. But as far as civilians are concerned, I will say that if you get that call, listen. Just listen.
That's
Offer
the best
love,
thing you can do. Is listen.
listen, offer love, offer support. Um, There is no magic cure. These are things that they are painful memories that you're experiencing and going through. And it's not until you come out of that mindset that you can actually start possibly revisiting it and saying, okay, what can we do to help with that? Taking the necessary steps, whether it be offering suggestions of maybe working out, which is such a great release. Working out is an amazing release. Walking, activity of any kind, gardening, anything to occupy your mental, because that's where it all starts. It's all up here. The mind is a very powerful thing, and it's about regaining control of those thoughts and bringing them back to a positive side, which is not easy to do. But if you stick with Sunny for a while, I will get you thinking a little bit like me, right? I got you all doing heart hands. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say that. See? Hearts. Um, Smiling is contagious. It really is. So I often say surround yourself with positive energy. Know your tribe. If you know that you are already experiencing dark thoughts, negative thoughts, have a very difficult time motivating or inspiring yourself to do things, and you surround yourself with more negativity, misery loves company. That's called a comfort zone, but it's not what's in your best interest. You truly have to step outside of that, and you have to start surrounding yourself with things that fill your cup, people that fill your cup, people that are going to continually inspire you to want to heal. It's a healing process, it's a journey. And always remind yourself that there's nothing wrong with you. We're all going through something. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes we feel like when we talk about 22, it's a temporary problem for that moment. Those thoughts are temporary, but it's a permanent solution. And there's a lot of hurt that comes from that. Like you said, to the community and to your family and friends. So please never feel like you have to do this alone. It is your journey, but you don't have to walk it alone. That's what I'll say to that. And as far as you're concerned, my friend, I love you to pieces. I think you're fantastic. I'm so happy that I got to meet you and spend one on one time with you as well and got to know you on a personal level. I'm super excited about our next trip and the things that we're going to do as a family, as the family's growing. We're going to continue to encourage our veterans to participate in Veterans Night. It's a place where you come together on TikTok with the Sunnyside family and be a part of that community. It's also a place for military families, children, spouses, widows, where they can come and also find healing and understanding. So, although Sunny is not a therapist, Sunny is just somebody that's gone through her own healing journey and has found um, this purpose of wanting to give back. It's my opportunity to serve, and I'm going to do it. And I encourage all civilians to want to do the same. And if you don't know how, come into Veterans Lives. You'll gain some perspective. It's going to trigger some ideas, maybe in your own communities where you can help. Um, so many things we can do for our veteran community, so many things. We shouldn't limit ourselves.
There's a lot that the civilians can do. They just have to be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, whether if it's fear of, having that conversation, just talk to your veterans like you would anybody else. But most importantly, smile at them. Um, Thanking someone for their service is really an action word. Otherwise, to me, it's meaningless. It's kind of like saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. Put action behind your words. How did you thank them? That's how I look at it
Yeah.
personally. Yeah. So, my friend, I know Memorial Day is coming up. We will be hosting a Memorial Day live. I'm thinking tomorrow is Veterans Night. I don't know if I want to do it tomorrow night or Sunday night. Any
Sunday.
suggestions? I thought so too. I thought so too. So we will be doing that on Sunday night. And I hope I'll see your face there with the rest of the family. So I look forward to that. And we don't have to do it alone.
That's it.
We don't have to do it alone. We'll be together. So that's very
Yep.
important. And for our viewers, thank you so much for being with us today. War Eagle, I appreciate you sharing. And you know, you're always welcome to come back here if you want to share more. That's up to you anytime because your stories matter. Every single one stories matter. Um, for our viewers who have any questions, once again, I encourage you leave some comments below if you have any questions for War Eagle or myself or what it is that Sunny's doing. Um, I do, I do have a merch store where hopefully it's from those sales that we can make more of these trips happen for our veteran community. So please visit my TikTok. That's where I have my merch store and consider purchasing a t-shirt, a hoodie, or a tank top. It's going to a great cause. In the meantime, I'm going to say what I always say: stay sunny, stay spicy, always make it count, lead in love, and lead the way for others. That's right, my friend. We always lead the way in love. Love is the answer to many things, such as unity, uniting Americans, uniting civilians, bridging the gap between civilians and our veteran community. Sunny appreciates you, my friend. Much love to you, much respect, as always. And we'll talk again soon.